Right.
Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday and happy end of January. It's almost February, and we're here to talk to you about one of the most exciting live chats that you've been waiting for and we've been waiting for. And in case you can't tell by the title, we're talking about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, like the first book in the Harry Potter series that you may or may not have heard of. A few people have read it, some people haven't. We're going to talk about it. Spoiler alert. We'll tell you the ending of the book.
Possibly the whole series.
Back of Quirrell's head. Just put that out there. So, is it even worth asking what our rating of this book is?
Also, the comments may still not be working for you. There's a link to where you can comment in the description.
Yes.
If you haven't been here for the last few chats.
Because Google hates us. Just
They do.
a lot.
Who just disappeared? Oh, Kelly.
Kelly.
What
It's like,
happened?
I'm out.
Oh. Kelly's like, I hated the book. I'm gone.
So, did we enjoy the book? Anybody like it?
It's alright. Yeah.
Kind of like iffy.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I get all the hype.
I don't know. I can't get behind it. It's like it was an okay book, but
There's half of us who are dressed up.
Yeah.
I couldn't find my Harry Potter cloak. I'm really upset. I
Ah.
thought about it all day
You
today.
have
I'm
a
like,
cloak?
oh, I have a cloak because my sophomore homecoming theme was Harry Potter. Because I was on student council and I decided what it was with my other friend because no one else showed up to vote. So guess who chose Harry Potter theme?
That's awesome.
Everybody else in school was real bummed out about it until Spirit Week when we're like, seniors are Gryffindor, juniors are Slytherin, sophomores are Ravenclaw, freshmen are Hufflepuff, obviously. And then everyone was behind it. But until then, yeah, I was Luna Lovegood on the float.
That's
I had blonde
amazing.
hair at the time, so it made more sense.
I
Have we
did
talked
bring my
about-
Bellatrix wand
And
Yes.
Hermione.
to Avacadabra you.
Jared whittled me a wand.
It's driftwood.
It's got a little handle at the bottom.
I think mine is Ron's. I'm pretty sure. He has a
Yeah,
Navi
that's
end, right?
that's Ron's. Yeah, we have that one too.
This is
That's Hermione.
How many do you have, Emma?
We have 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
We also have Cedric, or not Cedric, Neville.
Awesome.
Neville.
I had to get Bellatrix because she's my favorite character. I mean, aside from Harry Potter, of course.
Actually, I think this one was the prettiest.
Who's this?
Ginny.
Oh, I know, I
Yeah,
know.
definitely.
It's the nicest looking, so that's why.
I really like Hermione because it has like the vines on it. That's why I chose.
Yeah.
plus Hermione.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just end it there. Being like, I just like Hermione.
Yep, it's true.
Full stop. So I'm assuming that we all enjoyed the book.
Yeah,
I
I don't
couldn't
think we
even
need
joke
to
about
do.
not liking it.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do a rating system. Really, it's a 5 out of 5.
I will say something though, like in rereading it, which I don't usually reread things. It's really hard for me to get back into something. Like obviously the writing gets deeper, like the further along the series you go. But this book really like honed in, like, wow, this really was a children's book. Like this is a children's series. It's very different from the young adult stuff that we're used to reading. I was
I
like,
actually found this
Very
because
different
I
than
was
I remember
rereading it. I was rereading it this morning, and I found because I know the story so intimately, I can really concentrate on how she like the mechanics of her writing, which I found very interesting.
There were some things that popped out at me, like a lot of dialogue tags, and I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah.
More acceptable.
Yeah. And she doesn't go into, there's definitely places she doesn't go into as much description as I would have expected. Like when they're approaching the, what is it? When he first goes into the wizarding pub Boy.
the leaky cauldron.
Yes, thank you. I just read that scene. Like, there's not a huge amount of description aside from, like, he's sitting around inside.
Which I think is interesting, because I think when we think about Harry Potter, like, somehow she manages to do it with, like, very little description, but we all have such, like, vivid images in our head of the world. And so when you think about it, you're like, oh, it had such, like, so much description, and then you read it, and you're like, really, she did so little, like, so few words with the descriptions.
Yeah, because, like, he walks in there, and in our heads, like, we see everything, even though we realize now that it didn't tell me that in the book, but I'm placing it in my head. It's awesome.
And like, it's not even just because of, like, the movies, because I remember reading them for the first time, it was also vivid.
that were, like, layering movie.
I think so, for sure, at this point.
At this point. But I do know that when I first read it, I remember it being, like, I could picture it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So speaking of movie and book, you know what part I was most upset they cut out of the movie? Hermione's part.
Yes!
Like,
Still not over that.
Potion thing. In the movie, she's like, let me just help Ron. I got the, like, plants before.
Yeah, she had the plant thing. That's her thing.
But she had the whole potion thing, which was
that was the coolest.
The potion thing was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was.
It's funny that they gave Ron his part, but not Hermione her part. So
visually, it's more of a movie-y.
Yeah, and I think
having them stand there and solve a puzzle isn't really that visually appealing.
And I think they were also like, she already did the devil's snare thing, so they were like, that can be her.
Yeah, because they like handed her Ron's lines for the devil's snare, right?
Yeah,
right. Who was cool with it, and she was the one who was panicking.
Yeah.
So, I'm still not over movie portrayal of Ron.
Yeah,
never forget.
Look, I love movie portrayal of Ron, but not as the same as book. Like, I think of them as two completely different.
Yeah, they're two different Rons.
Like, they're both Harry's friend, but in such different ways. You got the goofy Ron. Like, you're goofy, but you're smart, and you're loyal, and you're kind and brave. And then you're like,
he kind of, in the movies, he kind of just got reduced to the goofy part of his personality. And they gave, like, Hermione all his other aspects.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and he seems so much more like a fair weather friend in the movies, I thought. Like in Goblet of Fire, especially, because I just watched that movie. He's like, you're famous and I'm mad.
I'm mad. You didn't tell me you put your name in the cup. I'm real peeved.
Also, it's like, and like they fight over that in the book, but like it's more understandable in the book, I think. Like, I think you understand Ron's, like, why he's upset better in the book than you do in the fourth movie.
I also miss Peeves.
Yes.
Like, have this next party. That was the first one, right?
That's the second one.
Really, I think we would probably go ahead and talk about it. Just doing all the
pretty much. Well, he has a really interesting part in when they drive What's-Her-Nuts away. The
Umbridge
lady. Yes, thank you.
Well, and you guys know that they tried to film Peeves, right? So they they cast a guy. It's some famous British comedian. He's dead now. He died recently. I don't remember who it was, but they cast a guy and they tried to film it and it didn't work out well. And they actually talked about it this weekend at the celebration because someone asked the actors, like, what do you wish hadn't been cut, and that was Ron's answer was Peeves. And he talked about how, like, they tried filming it, but it was, like, too silly and too funny for the movie. And, like, so he said, like, part of it was that, like, they couldn't stop laughing through the scene, so it was really hard to film them. But also that, like, it, like, tonally didn't work in a movie because it was just, like, too out there and too silly. But, yeah. But I still miss it.
Which I can see, because in the book you have a lot more space to have that comedic relief, whereas in the movie it's very condensed. And you rely more on that drama than anything else. Because you already had Ron.
And you also have, like, the other ghosts, like Headless Nick and stuff, and then it would be, I could see, like, you're having a lot thrown at you at once, particularly in the first movie. So if you have Peeves on top of everything else, like the other ghosts and stuff, I can see how it would be maybe too much for the movie.
Yeah.
Interesting. Him though.
Me too.
So much.
It's cool to know that they tried, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't
Yeah,
just
I
left
appreciate
because they
that.
wanted it. Yeah, we appreciate the effort.
They tried with Harry Potter, and they tried to get Daniel Radcliffe with the contacts, and it didn't work. And I'm like, all right, but CGI is a thing that you could have done, or even made the mother later have the same eye color as Daniel Radcliffe. Everybody had different color eyes. That's my one complaint.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that they wanted to make J.K. Rowling play the part of Lily, like in the first bit?
Was it?
Really?
Yeah, they asked her, and she was like, "No, thank you. You're the mother of Harry Potter. Would you like to play the part?" And she said,
That
"No."
would be so weird.
It would be weird. I would be totally on board. I don't know why she said no. No, I would want to be an evil witch. I'd be like, I can be Bellatrix, though. I laugh really, really well.
Yeah, they're like, no, we're not offering you a full speaking part. We just want you in the mirror for a second.
I could do like an extra part if anyone was ever to make a movie, but I don't know if I would want like something so in your face as like Lily.
Yeah, I think
that would be pretty big.
Like,
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah, I would want to be like one of the parents at like 9 3/4 or something, just like get in the background beside my kids or something, you know, like.
I've got the trolley car. That's my job. I've got the kids.
Well, Stephen King is actually in almost every movie that they make on his books, and sometimes he does have speaking lines, just not very many. I would definitely be like, make me evil. Yeah. That's what I'll do.
I just like imagining how much it would have like thrown me out of the movie if like they're all in the car and then like J.K. Rowling comes with the trolley cart and she's like,
that would be amazing.
Take the lot. I just remember, like, even with something like Twilight, when Stephanie Meyer had her cameo, I was like, ugh!
Yeah.
What was her cameo? I didn't even see her.
Like in the first,
like the cast in the diner,
at the bar. Like she was at the restaurant eating, and then at the last one, she was at Bella's wedding, and she was like, "I'm here."
Wow.
Like, get out of here.
Yeah. I didn't even notice her. I didn't watch all of them, but I didn't notice the part in the cafe. So that went right over my head.
Immediately, I was like, "You."
Yeah. I felt like the camera focused too much on her every time she was in it, you know?
It's got to be a little less focused. It's like Peter Jackson in Lord of the Rings, where it's just like a really quick flash, and you're like, wait.
It was, and you don't realize until you hear it as trivia later that he was like the smelly carrot-eating guy.
No.
Stanley?
Stanley. I was like, Spike is not the person I'm thinking of.
Likely. Stanley. Yeah, and my favorite part is when, I can't remember which movie he's in, where he says, like, superheroes in New York, that's ridiculous, or whatever. I can't remember. Yeah.
Like Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man. I like that one best, when Spider-Man's fighting behind him and he's listening to records, and I'm like, ow!
So good.
I don't know why I was fine with that, and not, like, stuff.
I think it worked for It works for superhero movies.
Well, and also with Stan Lee, it's almost like a running joke now. Like,
like the first one was like, okay, when he
it.
dies, it will be so sad. Like, because I expect it now. I look forward to seeing what he's going to be.
Yeah. I think the funny tone of like him obviously being there is what it works in a superhero movie. I don't think it would work with Harry Potter to be like J.K. Rowling.
Unless it was like a Peter Jackson style, like really quick once over where you barely notice and then you just find out later and it's cool. But like almost a cameo appearance wouldn't work unless the movie had like kind of a funny tone to it already.
Yeah.
Like,
So here's a question that really threw me off my rocker. Recently, J.K. Rowling over Twitter kind of said like, "Hey, I always intended Voldemort to be Voldemort. Soft T. Who knew this? Did you know it?
I knew it already. No. She said that a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, she said it on Twitter recently, but it was like she had said it years and years ago too. Yeah. So actually, wasn't new.
I didn't know it until I took French, and then I was like, "Oh, this is a super French name."
But what I didn't get about people freaking out about, like, a lot of people were like, no, I won't pronounce it that way. People were acting like she was saying you have to pronounce it like this, which she didn't. She was just like, this is how I pronounce it. It's interesting that other people pronounce it differently.
To be pronounced, obviously, in the movies.
Until the movies came along, I pronounced Hermione like I really butchered that name.
And like linguistically speaking, put on my linguistic pants. But like linguistically, you could say Voldemort, and unless it's at the end of a sentence, it's not going to sound that different from Voldemort.
No, it won't. I don't see what anyone would. I don't know why anyone would freak out about that. Oh my God, I have to say the T at the end.
They're like saying Baltimore versus Baltimore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many like J.K. Rowling reveals that I don't understand why people freak out so much. Like they act like she's like forcing them to do something. I'm like, she's not. Like, come.
Oh,
like,
when the new like U.S. version of the word Muggles came out, and everyone was like losing their bloody mind.
Yeah, and people are like, I refuse to call it that. And I was like, she's not making you call it that.
No one is.
Yeah, or like I've seen people be like, oh, I'm upset that now like. Because I'm American, I'm not a Muggle, I'm a No-Maj. I'm like, no, you're technically both. Like, if you want to get really technical, you're both depending on like where the wizard you're talking to is from.
If you went to Britain, if you went to the UK, you'd be a Muggle. Like,
yeah, like I don't know. People like take it too seriously and too real. I'm like, calm down.
The only thing I remember getting like really upset about of her saying things was she's like, kind of wish I wrote Hermione and Harry together. I'm like, shut
that
up.
was the worst.
And even that was like blown out of proportion of what she really said. Like the original like snippet of it. Yeah, it was like whatever.
I did also get really, really sad when I was getting really into the werewolf Draco theory, and then there was just a tweet where she was like, "It's not real."
No,
I was like, "Don't write the fan theory."
As an author, I don't think that I would do that. I'd be like, you know what? Have your theories and knock yourself out. I don't see the reason why you have to tweet and say that's wrong.
Like, I don't know. I guess I'm the kind of person where I'm like, I can still believe that even if she's, like, it's not real, so I can still believe it if I want to. Which is why I don't really understand when people freak out about things. I'm like, it's not real. Like, I can think whatever I want. And, like, with the whole American school that she announced this week, because it's going to be in Fantastic Beasts, people were like, I legitimately saw someone on Twitter, it was a writer on Twitter, who was like, I'm so upset that she announced this because now I have to, like, actually, like, come to terms with the fact that if I'd really been a witch, I wouldn't have gone to Hogwarts. I would have gone to this other school.
Like, it's not really equally cool, though. It would have been equally cool.
Yeah. And
on top of that, it's not real.
Yeah. And this person was like, this person was like, and this means I'm not actually, like a Slytherin or Hufflepuff or whatever. I'm like, you can be what you want.
Go to the UK to Hogwarts instead.
Where are we all sorted?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I did the new Pottermore test like this week because I
want to take.
I got sorted same. So we'll start with Kaylin. Kaylin, what house are you in?
I am. I lived my entire life as a Gryffindor. But then, I think it was like a year ago, I recently discovered I was sorted into Ravenclaw. So I am a Gryffindor. Officially.
Right, accepted. Aaron?
No, it's one of those things, well, it's like I have all of this Gryffindor stuff because it's like, Gryffindor! And then I finally got on Pottermore, so I'm like, now I have to buy a bunch of Ravenclaw stuff.
Yes,
it's natural.
And I think for some people there is like a really fine line. I know like for me there's a really fine line between like one and the second one.
Yeah, me too.
Aaron, as if we can't guess, what house are you in?
Slytherin, like every time.
This is my shocked face. What?
I know. You're all so surprised.
I know Emma.
Yeah, I'm Ravenclaw. I have taken the Pottermore test like 3 times, and one of the 3 times I got Slytherin, and I always felt like I had some Slytherin tendencies.
That's why you're hanging out at me with me in Harry Potter world. We're like Ravenclaw, and I was in my Slytherin t-shirt, and people were like,
the same shirt.
Slytherin, and they were like kind of, not like getting mad at me, but like, what? You're Slytherin. What, you want to fight?
Yeah, we were both, we had the same shirt. Me and Erin had the same shirt, but hers is Slytherin. And yeah, we'd walk onto rides, and people would be like, go Ravenclaw! And they wouldn't say anything to Erin.
Screw you guys.
A very Slytherin reaction to that would just flick them off. Like, you too, dude. You too.
Kelly, what house are you in?
When I did the test, it's so hard, right? Yeah. The test, it's been Ravenclaw for a few years. I was Hufflepuff for a good chunk beyond that. So in Kaylin's way, I'll call myself a Ravenpuff. but I can admit to some Slytherin.
Thinking of a bird, like.
Slytherin tendencies. You definitely have Slytherin tendencies.
Megan.
I am a Gryffindor. But,
You totally are, too.
yeah.
It's never
Yeah. I've taken it a couple times, and once I also got Slytherin. So there's minor
Everyone
line
has
there.
a little Slytherin in them.
Yeah.
I went through a phase, I will admit. I went through a Slytherin phase for a while. I have the scarf and then the tie. And my brother, it's a curse word, but I'm going to say it. He called me a slither shit all the time. And it hurt my feelings.
It
was like one of the
so many personalities.
It was one of the midnight releases. It was my birthday, so he dressed up as a Gryffindor and I was a Slytherin. So we were like warring it out, like legit, like in a movie theater. It was awesome.
I am a Ravenclaw through and through. Every single time, Ravenclaw, which beyond better people. Every single time I've taken the test, I've gotten Ravenclaw. Even when I'm like, you know how sometimes you take those tests and you're like, I really want to be Ravenclaw, so I'm going to answer like I'm a... I tried to not do that, and I was like, just take it. And just like with your blinders on, don't think about it, just answer how you'd actually answer it. And I still got Ravenclaw, so... Then sophomore.
Yay!
Yeah. I think Pottermore is harder to like cheat your way into a house than
I was gonna
it is.
say that.
Yeah.
Like I remember taking a test one time. It was like some random website. This was years before Pottermore, and it's like you go through all of these like series of questions, and you get to the last question. It's like, what house would you want to be sorted into?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, the sorting hat takes my want into consideration, but you're just gonna say what I want you to say anyway.
Yeah. It's like, what's your favorite
sorting.
color?
Yeah.
Blue.
Pottermore will give you the option if you're like really close between houses. It'll ask you like, what house do you think you belong in? Because I got that like the first time I took it.
My sister was really upset because she took it. She always wanted to be a Hufflepuff. I don't know.
What?
I know. She just always wanted to be a Hufflepuff. And the more she read about their house, she's like, do you know how they get to their commons rooms? I'm like, yes, it's ridiculous.
They crawl through a barrel.
She really, yes. Yeah, she loved it. She's like, I would do that. I was like, because you're such a Hufflepuff. But she took the test and she was in Ravenclaw, and I was like, yes, Ravenclaw. And she was like, no. Hufflepuff. And I'm like, nope, it's official. You're in Ravenclaw with me. Welcome to the family, kid. And she was very upset about it, but I think she's coming to terms slowly with it. Only sort of. Because I do make her find things. If I can't find things, I'm like, Jessica, find.
Fun.
Go on, you Hufflepuff. So, when the first time, obviously this is not the first time any of us has read Harry Potter in this, correct? Did anybody get their mind blown? We're all covered. The first time you read it, do you remember reading it? Like, do you remember the first time you sat down and were like, what is this?
I distinctly remember the experience.
I do because I read it in reverse order a little bit. So I didn't actually start reading the books until after the second movie was already out. And the third movie was about to come out. My mom was like, you love the movie so much, read the books. And I'm like, at that time, I hated reading. I was in high school. I was like, reading is, not my thing. But this was the first book that I had read that wasn't like school shoving stuff down my throat. So I read the third book first, and I remember finishing the last chapter on the way to the movie theater to see Azkaban in theaters. And then I went back to the first and second. And I just remember thinking, wow, they did a really good job with number one in the movie. Like, for the most part, like, it was like spot on.
Yeah. I don't specifically remember like reading the book so much as I remember like things that happened surrounding the book. Like, I remember there was a Jehovah's Witness teacher at my elementary school, and she wouldn't let the kids bring Harry Potter in, and so a bunch of my friends would like sneak it in the covers of different books.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's so funny because sorry, I was going to say because what Megan was saying, that's what it reminds me of too, because Harry Potter was super forbidden in my household because of my like uber Christian conservative parents. So it was bad, evil witchcraft. So I snuck it from the library and read the whole thing in secret. So it made it kind of like extra cool.
Yeah. I remember because I wasn't really supposed to like read or watch anything with witches in it, and so I didn't think my mom would let me read them. So like I remember in 3rd grade, my teacher had a copy in the classroom, and everyone had been talking about Harry Potter, so I grabbed it from the shelf, and I couldn't get past the first chapter, and I was like, I don't understand what the big deal is, and someone else wanted to read it in the class, like someone else was like, oh, I want to read it when you're done, and I was like, go ahead and take it, like I'm fine. But then a year later, I was in 4th grade, and Megan had read them, and she was like, you have to read them, they're so good. So I like begged my mom. I was like, please let me read them. And she was like, she was like, I'll read it and see what I think. And so she got it from like the library and started reading it, and she got like a few chapters in and was like, yeah, it's fine, you can read it, because she loved it. She was like, this is so good, you can read it.
So my grandma had read it too at that point, and she's like, you gotta read it.
Like ages after my parents were like, this is evil, blah blah blah, and I finally read them and like left them lying around the house. My parents started reading them and got completely hooked on the entire series.
But I distinctly remember reading it, and like my mom like read she read them all around the same time I was reading them, and so I remember she had finished it already while I was still reading it, and so I remember being like, who is Nicholas Flamel? What is all this stuff? And my mom already knew, and she kept giving me like teasers and hints and stuff. She's like, I'll tell you. Because I was like, what's Nicholas Flamel? And like, what's hiding behind the 3-headed dog? And she's like, it'll seem really obvious when you find out. And it's like the title of the book. I was like, oh.
Right. But I get it now.
Yeah, and I remember we were like on vacation or something, because I remember being in a pool at a hotel talking to my mom about it, and I was like, oh, what is it? Because I remember I finished it, and we were somewhere, we weren't at home, so I couldn't go to the library to get it. We were on vacation somewhere, so my mom bought me the 2nd book, and I was like, I own it! And it was really exciting.
I very distinctly, I read them right when they came out. I just looked at my book, and it's marked 1997, and I was born in 92. So I was, 1st grade-ish by the time I started reading this, and at that point, with a 1st grader's reading level, I wasn't reading books like this. I was reading smaller chapter books that were had my name in it, which was so exciting. And this was my book that my parents would read to me before I went to bed. My dad would come in and sit next to me, and he's like, "Well, read a chapter, and then you gotta go to bed." And I was like, "All right," and then they had to read it, and I'm like, "Oh, one more chapter," and they're like, "No, you have to go to sleep now." 9 o'clock.
I used to have that edition too.
I've never seen it before.
I
can tell you, this is when my book problem began, because what I'm about to explain to you, 5 or 6-year-old Erica was such a little sassy brat. This was the first book they bought me so they could read it, and then I was looking at the library, and I saw that there was a hardcover version, and I was like, excuse me, I have a paperback version, and I know when you have the 2nd one, it's going to not come out in paperback right away. So we need to fix this problem. So we went out, and I bought the hardcover of it, within the first 3 or 4 chapters of this, I found out about this, and then, I still read all of, look at the spine. It's pretty...
Oh, yeah, I don't even have that copy anymore because it fell apart so bad.
It smells like my childhood. And then I read this one, and halfway through 1st grade, I was actually getting much better at reading. So I'm like, you can go. I'm gonna read this for me. But I most distinctly remember reading the 3rd one, Azkaban, because I got it the day it came out, and I was so excited. And I was sitting in a gas station on the way home from Barnes & Noble reading. I'm like, oh my god, this is it. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Oh, Harry Potter.
Definitely one of my best memories was, I think, for the 2nd to last book, we actually went to the midnight countdown release party at one of the bookstores. Yes, oh my god. And they had the sorting hat, and then everything was decked out in all of the house colors, and they literally did a countdown until midnight, 7, 8. So it was so amazing. Everyone was so excited.
That was definitely my first the first time I was ever surrounded by fandom. Like that, I was so obsessed with the books.
Yeah.
And I read the third one, and we were at the midnight release for every movie after that and every book after that.
Yeah.
I can't remember if the fourth book was out yet when the third movie came out.
Yeah, it was already out. Mm-hmm.
So then it was like the 5th, 6th, and 7th. We went to the midnight release of the books, and that was the moment where it was like, all of these people are here not for the movie, like they're here at midnight for a book. Like, I am with my people. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I know. Like
the parties just they just got like bigger and grander.
Yes.
Like the fourth book one was like the first time they had midnight release parties really for a book that I can remember, and it was like a lot of people, but it wasn't crazy. But then for like the last one. It was like so packed in that Barnes & Noble.
So amazing that people could come out like that for a book.
And I remember, because you didn't like order online back then. So I remember you'd go to the bookstore like months in advance and buy it, and you get like a little slip. There's this little like
I was looking for mine. It was like a ticket to like down the street and I used it as a bookmark, and I don't know where it is now.
So I don't have one.
I don't have mine.
They would like reserve your copy so that you knew that you would get there and get a book and not be like,
there were so many people.
Yeah.
And it was
amazing.
I think it was the last book. I think it was the 7th book. I actually went with my brother and a couple of his friends. So we all dressed up, and of course that was during my Slytherin phase. So I was dressed up as Slytherin. My brother was Harry Potter. His friends sprayed her hair pink to be Tonks, and somebody was Mad Eye Moody. Like it was a whole group of us. I'm like, this is awesome. Amazing. And my mom was there. She was. I wanted her to dress up, but I remember distinctly there was this lady that was the lady in the portrait. So like she was wearing this really pretty fluffy old-timey pink dress, and she was carrying around a picture frame. I'm like, that's awesome. Like that is the coolest thing ever.
I remember my friend and I, after the midnight release, we were so scared of spoilers that we literally stayed up and read the book to each other out loud all night until we were done. My throat was so sore afterwards. It was so sick.
I accidentally spoiled the book for myself. It was just before the 7th book came out, like the epilogue got leaked. And I'm like, I'm just going to read the first page. I'm going to read the first page, and then I found out, Harry, it was Ron and Hermione named one of their kids Hugo, and I'm like, that's not real. That can't be real. Like, that's the stupidest name ever. So when I got the book, we walked outside of the store, and I flipped, and I saw it, and I'm like, his name is Hugo? I'm like, well, now I know somebody doesn't die.
I remember when I bought the 7th book, we walked outside the store that night, and this guy, like, flipped to the back of the book and was like reading the last page out loud. Like I ran, like I didn't hear anything he said, but he was like, I'm gonna read the ending, and like flipped to the end.
There were those people.
No.
It was people. Why would you do? They went there just to like spoil this.
It was the 6th one. That was the big thing, and there was videos on YouTube of people going like, Dumbledore dies on this page, and it's like, I will literally hunt you down right now.
There were people like writing that on like the back window of their car.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is wrong with people? Like the guy that went into the theater with Star Wars and screamed out like a big twist. Yeah. He got the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah.
His friend kicked the crap out of him.
He was hospitalized with multiple fractures.
Well.
Yeah. But yeah, I miss the like anticipation and wait for the Harry Potter books, because like I've never really experienced that. Like there have been other books I've been excited about releases, and there have been movies I've been excited about releases, but nothing like waiting for the Harry Potter books.
No, I don't think anything will ever compare to that.
Yeah. And also the fact that like people don't get together in person for midnight releases of books anymore, and like it was such a unique
It's nothing
thing.
that big. It's not like, I don't know, when I think of Harry Potter, it's just like childhood, 90s.
Yeah.
There was like no internet. You played solitaire on the computer or the little mind blowing up
Minesweeper.
Yeah, but it has a strategy.
Yeah.
I just like you hit things.
And
I don't get it.
And like my strongest childhood memories are like the years between Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix, because there were like 3 years in between those two books, and I read them right after Goblet of Fire came out, so it was like a 3-year wait, and that was like right around the time that the internet got big, and so I remember just like being online and like reading all the theories for 3 years, and I remember when like
fan fiction.
Fan fiction, everything.
So much fan fiction.
So many strong memories from those like 3 years in between, because we had nothing to do other than reread the books and speculate. And like I still like the Order of the Phoenix cover is my favorite cover, and part of it's like a nostalgia thing. Like when I look at it, I get like chills because I remember, like I distinctly remember being on my computer and like the cover had been released, and everyone was freaking out because the cover had been released. And I remember, like, it was, like, old dial-up internet, so, like, the picture was, like, loading, like, down the page, like, really slow.
I just got chills for a second because it's like, I remember that, too, so it was like, we were all so connected, even way back then. We're all sitting in front of our computers in different different places.
Slowly loads, and you're like, let's go, you big fat computer, you sat beside of it.
And it's like, and I remember the cover releases for the other, for like the 6th and 7th books, but for some reason the 5th book is the one that stuck with me the most. I think partly because of the weight for it. Like I just remember, and it is a beautiful cover. I love the blue cover on it. But like I just remember it like loading, and I was like getting chills as it loaded because it was just so beautiful. And like I just that 3 years of waiting is like one of my favorite. It was excruciating, but it's one of my favorite times in fandom from like my whole life.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it, but I was young. Like I distinctly remember. I heard that J.K. Rowling was having a baby, and I was like, she's having a baby instead of writing a book for us? And I'm so embarrassed when I think about it now, but I distinctly remember, like, I don't even remember, how old were we then? How old
we were probably, like, 10 or so.
Okay.
Like 9 or 10.
Like, I remember raging at my mom, and I was very small. I was a very, very small child.
Oh, my God. I would love to just be like, you know what? If she doesn't stay on deadline, like tiny, I
really like deadlines.
This is a hard deadline. I need this book, and I swear to God, if they do not have, I'm looking for my book, and I'm finding like I was always rough with my books, but in a loving way. But I'm finding like pages that I earmarked because I had to pause reading because I was reading it in class. So, like, I've earmarked it on a page break after Hermione says that her parents are both dentists. I have, like, so many, like, I have little pencil marks next to paragraphs that, like, aren't during a page break or anything. So I'm like, this is where you were. Don't forget it.
Oh, that just reminded me. Was it you, Emma, who got the 4th book and it was missing pages?
Oh. It's my 3rd book that's missing pages. Well, I don't have it anymore. I got rid of it. But yeah, I had a copy of the 3rd book. Luckily, it wasn't like back when it came out or anything. Because that's actually like the only books I have that are like from when I first read them are the last 3. I used to have the 4th book from when I first read it, but it like fell apart, so I got a new one. But I had a 3rd book that I got years later to like complete my collection, but it was like missing like 40 pages randomly in the middle.
Weird.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
I don't have that one anymore.
Like, opening night, like the
that would be so funny.
Oh my God! To be like, something's not adding up here. Why does this not make sense?
What's happening right now? That would suck.
Yeah. But I love like rereading it. Like it's just I know we've talked a lot about how like familiar it is, but it's like the story and the writing is so familiar that I like find myself like anticipating what it's going to say before I even read it. Like I'm hardly reading it sometimes because like in my head I'm already just like going off on like all of it because I already know if I'm like I don't even realize I know it by memory, but I do. And so like I'm mostly just skimming over it and just telling the story in my head because I already know it.
That's what I was really enjoying though because I know it so well I can concentrate on like how she writes and stuff, which is almost like a weird opportunity to actually study the craft of writing. So what's going on.
I started getting distracted a little bit. I'll admit that I didn't fully read the entire book. I read the first part to where they got on the train and then pulled up at Hogwarts, and then I watched the last part. Read the last part, and I've rewatched the movie so many times that like when Hagrid showed up to the shack in the middle of the ocean, and it's like so much more happened here, but every time like there was a line that was word for word what was in the movie, I got really giddy. I'm like, I know how he says that. Like I'm hearing it in my head.
Oh man, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
I was gonna rewatch the movie just before I came up here, but I decided that I didn't want to look like I was crying. So I want to save that for a couple more months, possibly after the pregnancy, so I don't have to think about the first time Snape comes up, I know it's just gonna be
Yes.
it's gonna be nothing.
Oh
Look,
no.
I'm
They
starting
did
to
a
cry right
tribute
now.
to
Oh my
him
god.
this weekend, and I was crying.
I
Oh my
have
gosh.
watched Harry Potter since then, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt. I was like, look,
Okay.
you live on
Yeah.
in the silver screen of my TV.
Yeah.
I cried the other week because of MasterChef Junior because a kid got kicked off.
Okay, well, that is so
And it crushed it, and he was crying, and I was crying. I'm like, but they're so little and so talented. Oh my god. I have so much hormones right now. I don't think I can take watching any Harry Potter right now at all.
Seriously, I just finished watching the end of The Office, the finale.
Oh my god.
Bawling my eyes.
I powered through a bunch of The Office on Netflix, and I stopped the episode of like Michael's goodbye, and I'm like, nope, not happening. Not for
That's
very
I've
long.
seen every episode of that series at least 6 times each.
I've watched it so many times, but still, like, when Jim proposes, goodbye, Sally, I'm crying.
Yeah.
When, like, they sing to Michael.
Oh yes, the Rent song. I lost it. Yeah.
When he proposes to Holly, I'm like, all right, bye. Not going anywhere tonight because not.
And then, like, especially with Harry Potter, part of that sadness though is the fact that it's over.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not completely over because when I think about Fantastic Beasts and I'm like, I'm clinging on for dear life.
A lot is right.
So hard.
Yeah.
When the last book came out, it was so sad. And then when the last movie came out, I just remember watching the live stream of the red carpet and crying. And watching all the, like, bonus content of, like, them saying goodbye to each other. Like,
I'm seeing them cry now. Oh my god.
Like, because we thought that was the last of it. And then J.K. Rowling's like, Hogwarts, you can always call Hogwarts home. I'm like,
Yeah.
So I was a bit older when I started reading and everything. So when I first started reading, I think I was either a sophomore or a junior in high school. So like it was, if I'm remembering it correctly, I was pretty older than the marketed crowd for the books, but it like lined up so perfectly with my life because when I first started reading it, I never read anything. So Harry Potter is the reason why I enjoy writing now because it opened my mind. So after I started reading this, I'm like, well, what am I going to do between books? And I'm like, oh, I'm hearing about this. What's Twilight? What is this thing about? So I started reading Twilight, and like I just kept reading. And the last movie, the very last movie, I was sitting in a theater with my couple-week-old child, like, watching the last movie, and I'm like, my childhood is now officially over. Like, holy crap. And I remember the credits rolling, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, oh my god, it's really over. Like, it's done. There's no more midnight releases. There's no more anything. I saw it like 4 times at theater.
We thought that was Star
Charlie
Wars
was
too,
with me
though.
every time. So
Star Wars
she was an awesome kid.
I just, like, so
Never
much
know.
of childhood revolved around Harry Potter. Like, I wouldn't have passed 5th grade math if it weren't for Harry Potter because my tutor, my math tutor, who I got because I was flailing in public school math class, she realized that I liked Harry Potter and I liked reading, so I don't know how this was math, but I was for it and I wasn't going to question it. For one of my, like, homework assignments, she made me write a script to Harry Potter. And I was like, oh, I can do this. And it was the best.
I think I've done that before. As a kid, I distinctly remember doing that.
I don't know how it related to math in any way, but I was not, like, if I was going to bring it up, I feel like she'd take it away. So I'm like, don't let her know that this isn't math. I think she's confused. Go with it. But, like, that's the only... I kept seeing her as a tutor because, like, she lets me write a script to Harry Potter. I'm in.
We've got some people in the comments who are here sharing their experiences with Harry Potter and all these non-Americans, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, yeah.
As it was intended, yes.
I have a quick question.
Or bus, buddy.
I have a quick question. In Sorcerer's Stone, one of the things that I kept my eye out for is I know there's got to be differences between the 2 editions. So in Philosopher's Stone, does it say that the public school was what was the public school's name?
Smeltings.
Stonewall.
No,
Smeltings
was the private one.
Was it
Yeah,
Stonewall
it's Stonewall.
High School? Like, it said Stonewall High in the Sorcerer's Stone edition. Because I know they don't call it high school in the UK, so, like, is the Philosopher's Stone, does it say Stonewall High? That was just one of the things I'm reading, and I'm like, I want to bring that up, because I have no idea. I don't even know what page it's for. I think it's the beginning of the second chapter.
Kelly's on it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just don't know
Also,
how to look.
interesting fact, the illustrated edition, even in America, is the British text.
That made me so happy because like I bought the box set that like, all the covers come together to make Hogwarts, but it feels so weird to me that it's the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm like, this is not how it was originally written. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I just got thrown off because at the beginning of the book, it had the table of contents. This is when, like, you print, like, chapter 1, page 1, chapter 2.
Okay.
I had to, like, very carefully not look at the chapter, like, names and the pictures, because the pictures were not spoiler friendly.
I would always
I know. I spoiled the whole Time Turner thing because I looked at the pictures ahead of time. And I'm like, well, that kind of ruins that.
That
But
was
Kelly, in my book, it's page 32, where it says
It's
Stonewall High, the local public school.
It's like the first page of chapter 3, I think, at least in the illustrated edition. In the illustrated edition, it still says Stonewall High, so I think it might say
Chapter 3, page 38.
What else is
32.
near it? Like,
32. It's literally like the first or second page of the third chapter.
It's the third paragraph of the third chapter. She's making his uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like right before she makes his uniform, I guess.
Because they call it secondary school in that
Right.
as well.
The local public school.
I'm like, that sounds very American. Like, is that really?
Yeah. Well, okay, so actually I have it in the British edition, and it says, Harry, on the other hand, was going to Stonewall High, the local comprehensive.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I don't like it.
I don't know what that means.
See, but that makes me want to get Philosopher's Stone and read her intended version of it, you know? I don't want to read the Americanized version.
And that's actually something I've noticed in the illustrated edition, because I know the book so well, every time it's part of, like, the British edition, like, it like, I notice it when it's a different word. I'm like, that's not the word that's in the American
record scratch.
So I noticed, like, within the first few pages that this was the British edition in the illustrated. So, yeah, if you get the illustrated, it still has the British
I think I'd be really peeved if it wasn't the British edition, because I really love anything to do with English type of that kind of feel.
I'd be so thrown off if I were to read the like the
But
original.
then, of course,
This is a version I. This
Even the way they speak is so British, it would be really ridiculous to try to like
change some things.
Yeah.
It would be weird.
They just change words.
Need to change anything at all besides the spelling.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. They change words like the comprehensive, which like Americans have no idea what that is. You know.
I don't care.
You make it work.
It's a high school. I get it.
But I wouldn't have gotten it. Like,
I would not have gotten that.
Excuse me, what the hell is a comprehensive?
Yeah. Or like
and 6.
Or like
But
every
you
time.
still know it's called Stonewall High. It's not like it's that much of a leap.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, yeah, and every time they called a jumper, they like rewrote it as a sweater because Americans don't know what a jumper is.
Well, I like that they kept that in the movies, though. The movies,
Because
they
like my
kept
family
most
called
of the racism.
jumpers were like overalls.
Yeah, jumpers are overalls in America.
It was a dress. Like I wore jumpers to school, but they were like pleated dresses. That's
yeah, they were like overalls but dresses. Yeah.
Yeah, if I had read that Harry got a jumper for Christmas, I'd be like, excuse me, why did Weasley buy him a uniform?
Well, I remember. Yeah, I don't remember why it was, but at some point I encountered that word, like early on in reading the series. Like, I don't know if it was that I encountered a British edition somewhere or if I saw it, like, online, like a quote from the book or something, but it talked about them having jumpers, and I was like, why are Harry and Ron wearing jumpers? Girls' clothes. I was very confused until I figured out what they were. I had to look it up.
It's confusing. I associate jumpers very much with private school, like, because I had to wear jumpers, and I hated them.
See, and I went to public school, so jumper to me is overall. Yeah. Like, boys and girls, just overalls, jean, you click it, you snap it, and then you do some hard labor. Like,
I think it's interesting to me.
So sounds fantastic. I
They stopped doing most of that translating at starting with the 5th book, right? Because I think it had taken so long for that book to come out that they were just trying to rush it and get it out, so they didn't take the time to do that. But it worked at that point because by then we had the internet, and it was really common to have the internet, so you could be like, what is a jumper in England?
You had grown up, too, by that point. You weren't, still the first grader reading this and going, what? Because the books were so big. You were older.
I sincerely hope that there's a bunch of Americans out there that are picturing Harry Potter and all his friends in a bunch of overalls. Because that would be amazing. The school overalls.
There's got to be someone somewhere.
Yeah. It's me. Mrs. Weasley makes overalls for everyone. What?
Little plaid jumper dresses.
Yeah.
They get knee socks for birthdays, so it's fine.
Perfect.
We're together.
Do you guys know how to pronounce the new wizarding school, the American one?
It's Ilvermorny.
Ilvermorny. Okay.
Say it again 7 times.
Yeah.
There's only one school for all of America?
There's only been one announced.
But there's only one in England too, right? Oh no, there's 2.
Because when you think of it, how many wizards must there be compared to the general population? So America might only need one.
Yeah.
But in the UK, it's 64 million people, whereas America is 300 million.
But how many wizards are there?
Yeah. But the question is, if Hogwarts was the public school of the wizarding world in England, because then you also had the Bulgarians, pretty dresses. Do we have those?
So I actually kind of have an answer.
Those were the private school versions. I know.
No,
it's a different country.
I know how the schooling system works because this weekend at the celebration at Universal, Ivana Lynch was the one who announced the whole Ilvermorny thing. She read J.K. Rowling's writings about the schools. So what it is that they're so the International Confederation of Wizards kind of oversees the major wizarding schools in the world, and there are she at least said that there are 10 known ones. I think there was something about there being 10, but there are sometimes smaller schools out there that basically it kind of sounds like they aren't accredited, basically they aren't recognized by the International Confederation, but they're out there, but they might not be as good of quality because they don't follow certain standards, and those never last very long. They're just little schools that are there for a little while, they pop up for a little bit and then they go away. But Beauxbatons and Durmstrang are like Hogwarts, they are major schools. They're just in different, because Beauxbatons is down near Spain and France. It's in the Pyrenees Mountains, and Durmstrang is farther east in Europe. And then they also announced one in Japan, which sounds awesome. They have robes that change color as you move up in skill in school. So they start out pink. Yeah, they start out a light pink, and by the time you graduate, they're gold. And if you betray wizard kind by studying dark magic, they turn white. So they know. So basically they never would have had a Voldemort because they would have known what he was doing. So Japanese are awesome.
So cool.
Yeah, the ones they announced were Japan. One in Africa, the one in America. Maybe it was all of them. Yeah, and then they said there's one in Australia, but they didn't say what it was. And they said there are 10 total that are major schools. So there could be smaller ones in America. Who knows? Or there could be more major ones that she hasn't told us about because there are apparently other schools that she hasn't told us about yet. So.
Did they announce anything about our uniforms?
No.
I just don't know what to pack.
Yeah, they gave a lot more money or a lot more information about Africa and Japan schools than they did America's because they're waiting until closer to the movie,
right?
Because it's tied into Fantastic Beasts. So yeah, it was really interesting.
Okay, when's Fantastic Beasts coming out again?
Not
December.
soon enough.
I know.
November.
December?
Mm-hmm. Oh, Michael just texted me to remind me that the Japanese robes also grow as the students grow, so they don't have to keep buying new ones.
I want all my clothes like that. Weasley.
That's the kind of relationship everybody needs to be in. Someone's like, don't forget this about, and you're like, you're right.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Oh, and they announced one in Brazil. I knew I was forgetting one. There's one in Brazil too.
Cool.
Yeah.
I bet they're really into soccer. But they're Quidditch, more of soccer.
They kick it.
I wonder if she's going to announce new sports. for like different schools or anything? Because I know that's the wizarding sport is Quidditch, but I wonder there's got to be more than that, right?
Probably.
Yeah, I would think.
Man, now I
Any
have
other
so
comments,
many questions
anything?
about, like, did Harry Potter, like, did his school ever have contact with our school? Are they, like, not on speaking terms? What happened during the World Wars? I don't know, but these are all books that she can write and answer for me. Thank you.
Maybe the wizards stayed out of the World Wars, though. I would think, because otherwise they'd be a lot different.
Yeah, but there's still so much happening
Yeah.
that it's not like you'd be like, oh, just ignore
True.
all of it.
Maybe they would have been way worse if the wizards hadn't stepped in. Oh my God, there's so many ideas.
Or maybe secretly beneath it all, it was actually two like warring wizard factions underneath.
Yeah, and they made them think that it wasn't. Oh my God, the fan fiction that could come from this.
I'm sure it exists.
I'm just gonna want to get off this chat and write so much fan fiction afterwards because the Fantastic Beasts is not coming fast enough.
It's that waiting again, and everybody's like, oh, new information. Like, every time there's, over the past couple of days on Facebook, like, people have been doing the live streaming. Like, Ivana Lynch did it yesterday, I think. And I was like, oh, you're talking to me, sort of, but you're live, you're telling me new things. I'm being a child, and then I'm like, okay, now I gotta go to work and be sad. Instead of, okay, I gotta go to school now and be sad. And not read Harry Potter while I'm doing work.
I just read this series and wish I could write something as good every time, and it almost makes me sad, but it's also happy, and I'm so confused.
And like not even just like something that good, but that something that like I don't know, like universally appealing.
Yeah.
There makes some kind of ripple in the world.
Something that like
wow.
something that sticks with people and like makes a mark. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't
Sort of
want
thing that
something.
yeah.
I don't want like a 50 Shades of Grey success. I want something that's like going down as like a classic, and that you know, childhoods were molded and shaped and formed by these books.
Yeah,
That's the ultimate.
Angry and very like a feminist.
Yeah. Like the last book came out
and smart.
The last book came out 9 years ago, and we're still talking about it. And there's a theme park for it, and I want to write a book that a theme park is made after.
See, I don't think I want to be that famous.
Hello.
See, I want to be like 2 steps down from.
I don't want to be that famous, but I want my book to be that good and inspiring.
Exactly. I was telling my husband the other day that I want to be famous enough for my books to be and my book characters to be in rap songs. Because like a couple times on the radio I hear like with magic like Harry Potter or whatever, or like scaring all you people like Stephen King, and I'm like, these are authors.
I want you to rap. I really just want to leave the rest of the live chat for you to freestyle.
Yes. I
think all of us would agree that this would.
It'll be a pleasure. It will be awesome, but it'll have to be when we're not live. No.
When we're not live, I'm just going to talk to Emma about Hamilton, so.
Yes.
I know nothing about Hamilton.
What?
Dare you?
I know nothing.
Erica and I will shun you.
We'll teach you. We'll put
that American history hasn't made it to Canada yet.
Come on, it's so great.
Is it another musical? Is it another Glee thing?
No.
No, it's a Broadway musical.
It's the most amazing thing that's ever happened.
It's so far away. Ugh.
You're not even American, and it will make you feel patriotic.
Okay.
You don't understand.
This is like another Downton Abbey thing where I have no idea what anyone's ever talking about for the next 6 months.
Right.
You probably won't know what they're talking about because you're not American.
Here's the best way to explain it. It's a history of America told in the voice of today. It's like the founding of America, but all in rap in the best way you could ever imagine.
You're not selling it to me.
So good.
You found it all appealing to me.
History of rap, America.
I don't
It's
really
a
like
work of
rap.
genius. Like, you don't have to like rap to like this. It's
Like, look, here's the thing. Harry Potter has shaped my childhood. I think Hamilton's going to shape my 20s.
Yes.
Because now I'm like, I want to write something that's that good, that like makes that kind of impact. and everybody is going and seeing the Broadway show, and like people you wouldn't expect to go see Broadway, and they're learning about history and also seeing culture, and it's Lin-Manuel Miranda is just what is.
I just want like a piece of his brain.
just a fragment of his mind.
Creepy.
In my
Typical
brain.
Hamilton, for example.
Yikes. So, back to Harry Potter.
Oh, man.
So much.
Any more comments or anything?
I am refreshing it right now.
Just coming down here.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of comments today, but we do have viewers. So
Is
thanks for
everybody
being
watching
here.
Grease? Is that why? Are you like half watching us and half watching Grease? Because Aaron Tevitt is playing Danny, and I'm behind it because talent, actual Broadway star. That's how you do it. But I'm recording it, so it's fine.
Apparently, Vanessa Hudgens' dad died yesterday, and she's performing today. I made her dad.
Her dad?
Yeah, yesterday.
Wow.
Whoa. Well, good for her. She's doing great from what I saw, because she's Rizzo, who is so cool. But she smokes, and that's not cool. I had to get that talk from my parents the first time I watched. I'm like, she's so cool. I'm like, no, it's not the message you should be taking away. Like, also, at the end, Sandy smokes. That's how she gets cool. And then their car
Yes, that has a terrible message. That
the car flying away. I know.
No.
But yes.
I really
Yes,
wanted
cars
to
can't
car
fly.
to go away.
Except in Harry Potter, then there's flying cars. That's
Yeah, see, that makes sense. I get that in Harry Potter.
logical.
Grease, it's like, are you stealing from J.K. Rowling preemptively? Maybe that's what she's idea.
The whole message behind Grease is if you wear tight leather pants and smoke, you're cool.
It's
Yep.
true.
And just abandon all of your previous morals. Then you're
Very
cool. Did it.
No, that's exactly how I live my life. Although I'm trying to cut down on the smoking, but I just breathed in a ton of it yesterday.
So you're really cool now. Are you
I'm
wearing
really
your leather
cool.
pants?
I'm packing up a lung because my neighbor's house was on fire. But it's fine. I don't have any flying cars yet. I'm working on it. I
Leather
just need
pants?
to-
You have the leather pants. Those are important.
I've got leather pants.
Cool. You're good
Don't
then.
you?
Cool.
I should have worn them today. And then I could make them squeak just continuously. Like, anytime I shift.
I do not have leather pants. That is not an item that I own or will ever own. No.
You put them on and then you're like, I'm on fire. Both, actually, like, I feel overheated already. My legs are overheated. And also,
I thought you were like metaphorically, but okay.
but
The
how
only
else
way you will ever see me wearing leather pants is if I have a mental breakdown and somehow think that I am Michael Jackson reincarnate. And then that would be when I will wear leather
What if we get you, like, satin pants? Like the disco pants.
disco pants?
Pants.
Because they look like leather pants, and, like, we can't be sure that that's not what Sandy's wearing. She could be wearing disco pants. Satin pants. And she's like, tell me about it, stud. And then you're like, oh, here it goes. We're into the final song. Things are wrapping up.
I love that I left talking about Harry Potter and I came back with a Grease.
And we've shuffled through multiple
what
things. Like, it's
So
not
much
like we
happened.
just
tried
jumped
to
from
tie
Harry
it
Potter
in
to
with the
Grease.
flying car, but it was a lost cause.
Oh, man.
There's just only so much you can say about Harry Potter until it just all devolves into flailing and fangirling and a little bit of crying, maybe.
Relating it to everything else in your life, because in my life I'm always like, and Harry Potter. And when I talk about Harry Potter, I'm like, and life things. They're like,
I think I'm just gonna start calling everyone muggles now. Like if I don't like what they're doing, stop being such a muggle. Seriously.
My husband went as a muggle for Halloween once.
You just wear normal clothes.
I was Luna Lovegood. My hair was blonde at the time too. It was a very weird time. But yeah, we basically just went to the thrift store got all these really cool like mismatched patterns, and like he had this really like weird like paisley long sleeve button up with like a really weird blue sweater vest and like a golf hat. Like it was so cool.
So did he go as a wizard dressing as a muggle?
Yeah, he was.
That's what it was.
Yeah, he was a human as a wizard as a muggle. So.
Right.
Nicely human, but yeah, person, like non-muggle.
He was a wizard dressing as a muggle trying to blend in. I like it.
That's cool.
He should have carried like a rubber duck around or something. Function of a rubber duck.
I need to find a picture. It was so awesome.
I just pulled up. I still have the pictures from my sophomore homecoming float and everything on my Facebook, so I'm sure you guys may have seen it. But like I really remember that day, and I yelled at one of the people involved in the float because we were Ravenclaw, and he dressed up like a raven. I'm like, it's an eagle! It's an eagle!
He dressed up like a raven.
I'm like, I know it's an eagle, and you're a raven, but I'm gonna let it be.
Maybe he just thought that it was Raven, and he really.
Yeah, it's called Ravenclaw. I'm like, you. But like, my friend was Moaning Myrtle, and I remember early that morning spraying her with water and then throwing flour on her. And she had her hair in pigtails and glasses. It was perfect. My other friend was the Gray Lady. Nailed it.
Awesome.
I also flowered her up, but she said less than what you did to her. And we had bubbles for the muggles on our float. So we would yell that at the people next, like all around us. We're like, bubbles for the muggles! And we'd throw candy at them and yell, wit beyond measure. And the senior float was the best, though. They had, like, they set theirs up like a Quidditch field. They had the rings, like the hoops. And then it was just all grass. And they just stood there. We tried to do a sorting hat, but remember, this is a bunch of 15-year-olds being like, we know how to build things. No, it's like the saddest. I don't even understand. I can't even explain.
Why did they just stand there? Why didn't they have like brooms between their legs and run around and toss the ball?
I think a few of them did. I just sent the link for you guys to see all of them. My one friend was Cho Chang. She was of Asian descent. And we're like, we hate to do this, but can you be Cho Chang? Because none of us can be Cho Chang, because it seems more offensive if we are. And she's like, I love Cho Chang. I'm like, great, because you would be great as her. And I had like little construction radish earrings that fell off right when the float started. Because they were construction paper and taped on my ears.
Oh my god, Tiny Erica is tiny.
Yeah.
I had my robe. So many things. We had the Harry Potter theme music blasting from the truck that was pulling the trailer. And then we had a techno version of it. So we had the cool. We won the float competition, even though our sorting hat, and yes, that is what that's supposed to be. Our sorting hat was sad. Our brooms on the side we made from like that plant that has like all the fuzzy stuff on it, like willows, and we just taped it together. We're like, a broom. Voila! No money. Don't tell your neighbor why all of their plants are missing.
That's amazing. Some people had actual robes, and then other people look like they have bed sheets on.
Holy! Some people were not prepared.
That's one thing that I totally slacked on with my costuming, is that I never had a proper robe. I just couldn't justify, like, the ones that I wanted with like a legit robe, and they're like $150.
They're
and I'm like,
expensive.
I'm just going to keep buying books and other stuff and other patches and ties and scarves. Like, I want a set of all of them. And, like, put them in shadow boxes. So I want a patch, the scarf, and the tie. Put them in my office.
But I really wanted the scarf. I wanted the Slytherin scarf, but it was so hot while we were there that it felt really strange buying a scarf. Yeah. Also a sweater. I was really torn between a sweater and a couple of other things. So, but I ended up buying like the shirt that Emma has, and then a couple of, what else did I buy? Chocolate frog, party boxes, beans, candy. You know, the important things.
I won't eat those beans. I will not get the earwax. I'm not gonna risk it. I like the idea of it, but in practice, no.
The chocolate frog was really, really good. I kind of want another one. I still have the box on my shelf, and it makes me happy.
I never ate mine, and then I went to check it because it was years old.
It was delicious.
That's the one thing that I think was like so genius about Harry Potter, and I don't even think she really did it intentionally, but like it's so like marketable. Like there's so many products. And, like, reading it as a kid, I was like, I want all these things. I want the robes and the hat and the scales. Like, I wanted, like, all the school books. Like,
you want the wands, you want the books. I'd buy the books.
Like, yeah.
Oh, like, every Hogwarts and history I need to know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I want a cauldron. Like, there's so much stuff. Yeah.
My entire senior year of high school, I wore the same Harry Potter jacket. The zipper broke and everything. It was just, it was a regular black jacket with the white stripes down the side, and it had the crest on here, and on the back it had Hogwarts written in yellow. And
that's amazing.
I love that jacket. I still have it too.
So much stuff. I wanted my Nimbus 2000. I want all that stuff.
But honestly, if you wrote a book with that in mind, like, this is going to be great for marketing.
Yeah. That's why it worked, because she didn't have all that in mind, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And in general, the world building is just, particularly in the first book, I think the first book's world building is just amazing.
It's so hard, though, sometimes not to start writing and be like, I'll make sure that this will be a great team
exactly.
Like, okay, no. This is not why you're writing. Settle down.
So when we started up the chat, I couldn't see any comments. I could see a place to comment, but it wouldn't let me. And then when I kept trying to refresh to see other people's comments, it wouldn't let me. But now it's letting me see them, and there are a lot of comments on the video.
I still can't see
Welcome. We're very happy you're here.
We're not ignoring you on purpose. It was all an accident.
I'm sorry. I'm so filled with guilt. We did have a question. I think it was from Jody. She wants to know if Surviving First Drafts is still exclusively on Amazon.
Oh, yes, it is. I was like, that's mine.
Surprise!
I know that book. How do I know that book? Oh,
I wrote that book.
I forgot.
Oh, and we had a lot of people asking more recently about our houses, but we did talk about that
Ravenclaw
earlier.
With an 8.
Yeah. We've got lots of Ravenclaws and Slytherins.
Aaron Slytherin, Chalk.
Hello.
Hey. Show mouth.
There's
have a
not
stab at you.
a wizard that went bad that wasn't in Slytherin, Aaron. Aaron.
Okay with this.
Seems like the Sorting Hat was like planning that, you know?
Yeah. Except, actually, I'm
like Slytherin.
Seeing as it was Hagrid who said that, I don't believe it. I think it was just like one of Hagrid's, like, you know, like it's like a hyperbole from him. Because, I mean, like, technically Peter Pettigrew, he was a Gryffindor.
Yeah, Quirrell was Ravenclaw. That was
Quirrell was a Ravenclaw. Like, there are bad people who are from other houses.
I think actually J.K. Rowling did speak about that at one point, saying that Hufflepuffs are good and loyal, and that you shouldn't be ashamed to be one, and that Slytherin don't always go bad.
Yeah.
So she
and
did
there are bad wizards from other houses. Yeah.
Because even with like good and loyal, you can take it too far. Like so loyal that you kill for your BFF or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like they're definitely like, because Hagrid's whole thing is he's basically like there are no bad wizards that weren't in Slytherin, which is a total lie. Like it's just Hagrid being like very anti-Slytherin, which he is. So. But I know a lot of people take that completely seriously because I remember. Like, it was while the books were all coming out, there was this debate on the internet. Well, people were saying, I heard people saying, like, Sirius must have been a Slytherin because, like, Hagrid said that there'd never been a bad wizard that wasn't in Slytherin, and Hagrid believed Sirius was bad, so Sirius must have been in Slytherin. It's like, I don't think Hagrid thought it through that much.
I think they gave the line to Ron.
Yeah, they gave it to Ron. I watched it earlier today.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that Hagrid was the one who said it.
Well, Erica said it, and I heard Ron in my head, but then you said Hagrid. I'm like, is it?
It was Hagrid. Yeah,
Hagrid
I just
in the book
finished
and
reading
Ron in
that
the
part.
movie.
It's the type of thing like where that's a commonly held belief in the wizarding world. Same with like one part of the wizarding world is like all hoity-toity about Muggle-born wizards and stuff, and another part is like very
really
against Slytherin. Yeah, it's gonna have different
I always
beliefs.
read, like, on Tumblr, I follow a lot of people who are, like, Harry Potter blogs, and I read one that's like, why, if, like, Slytherin's supposed to be all uppity, why do they have, like, the worst common room? It's all, like, damp and under a pond. It's like, because he spent all of his money on, like, the Chamber of Secrets, and, like, we all get the same amount of money, why is yours? And he's like, oh, taxes. I don't building permits. I don't.
It's not that secret chamber underneath.
Definitely not a chamber of any kind.
It's not that giant. It's not that giant mythical snake I bought.
The snake goes by. It's like that was the wind.
It's not that giant statue of myself that I commissioned for the chamber.
No, that's all. It was This is I like this common room. It seems cozy and not at all wet, like you might think it.
This will surely inspire students to do well in school and become good people.
They'll want their paper out. Always. They'll always be reading it because it's so dry and comfortable. Not clammy. That's not a word they would use to describe this place. No.
I want to watch all the movies again and read all the books again.
Meanwhile, while everyone else was fighting about what students to let in, Hufflepuff went and claimed the space next to the kitchens.
Yes. I was like, don't worry, guys, we're fine.
See, they're secretly the smart ones, clearly.
Yeah. She's like, we'll take whoever is smart enough to be next to the kitchens.
And then let's make our door a barrel.
You can crawl through.
And then super secret.
But apparently, according to Pottermore, Hufflepuff is the only common room that hasn't been infiltrated, or it's been a really long time since it's been infiltrated by another house or something like that.
I'm not going in there.
Yeah.
I don't want to go in the barrel.
There's probably nothing in there that I need or want.
Well, none of the Slytherins are going to lower themselves to crawling through a barrel. So it's quite clever of the Hufflepuffs, actually.
Well, and it's also, apparently it's supposed to be, on Pottermore, basically that the Hufflepuffs are so loyal that none of them would, reveal, how to get there and stuff like that to other students. So, the secret is protected better than any other house. But also, you think about it, Harry's been in every common room except for the Hufflepuff one.
It's true.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. See, these are the tiny little details that are so interesting to me because J.K. Rowling has thought them through. Clearly, she must have ridiculous amount of notes that probably no one's seen a lot of it. So exciting. I really admire that.
Like the Ravenclaw. Comment. Put me in a tower. I'm good to go.
Yes. Apparently we have the best views too from the Ravenclaw Tower.
That's be jealous.
So Slytherin just gets totally screwed then.
Yeah.
The common
Let's have a dungeon. Because you don't know about it.
You're below the lake.
That's my one denial of being Ravenclaw is Gryffindor common room is just a place that I would want to be. It just seems so cozy and warm.
And also the idea of having to answer a riddle to get to my bed is terrifying.
Can't go to sleep.
I would just have a panic attack. I might be capable of solving the riddle, but not in that moment.
Right?
We're going home.
I'm sleeping in the hallway, I guess.
I'm living here now.
That's when you just blast past with your wand. I'm tired. Move.
I just wander around and hope Hufflepuff will take me in.
I just read one of
the obvious Slytherin here. She's like,
I'll set you on fire. Get me away from my bed.
Well, they're I'm on the Harry Potter wiki because that exists, and they have two of the known riddles, and one of them is which came first, the phoenix or the flame?
Does that have an answer?
Oh, that's in the seventh book, but I don't remember
like a chicken and egg thing.
A circle has no beginning, Aaron. Come on.
That's what I meant.
That's the one they have to answer. That's the one they have to answer for Harry to get into the common room in the last book.
And Luna's very helpful, and she knows it. She's got it. Then there are others. This one McGonagall gets. Where do vanished objects go? Great. Into non-being, which is to say everything.
I'm gonna have to live in the hallway if it had everybody.
So, if I had these riddles, like half-asleep Erica would give those answers because it's like this riddle has no beginning.
Lucid Erica.
Everything.
Lucid Erica would be like, you gotta give me a second. I gotta really think about this.
That is a non-answer answer, though.
No, where would a vanished object? It would go nowhere. So everywhere? Like, oh, you got it. Good job.
So you have to get really high before answering these riddles, in other words.
It's called philosophy. Get on a higher level of thinking. Get on a level of existence. Yeah. It's up there.
Yeah, and also apparently Ravenclaws will all like gather outside the portrait to like discuss what the answer is and like help each other. Collaboration.
See, that's me. I'll be the one.
And then I'd argue.
I'm up against the wall, ready to like roll my sleeping bag out on the ground. Like,
like, are you guys gonna figure this out soon? Because I want to go inside.
If you can't get in, you're like, let's just go back to the library. I'm sure there's something there.
You just gotta go to the room of requirement and be like, I need some more sleep.
Hello, room.
Yeah,
it's me again. Got a bed.
Or I'd ask the room for the answer to the riddle.
Yeah. I think the answer to the Ravenclaw riddle.
According to Prefect Robert Hilliard, the sound of wind whistling around the windows of the tower is relaxing while going to sleep. I love the sound of screaming wind! You don't understand!
I know. I love when it's like storming or like windy when I go to sleep. It's the best.
I'm like, yes, blow my house over. I tell you. See? Ravenclaw was meant to be. I don't know how we got there, but I'm glad we went. That's how most of my conversations go. Just like, I don't know what happened, but it was fun.
Remember how all 6 of us are here today?
It's amazing.
Oh, it's been so long.
So long. Like
November.
Oh,
before November.
Before November.
Because I know that I haven't been able to go to most of the live chats because work.
I know. I think I went on my hiatus October.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Oh.
Okay, I'm thinking about Hamilton again.
You're welcome.
Any more comments?
I'm not seeing any questions.
I still don't see any in the one below the video.
I wasn't able to see any either.
I don't see any.
So weird.
I don't think she's that much of a liar.
Google is just demented. It's a dementor. It's sucking
Actually,
the life.
it is YouTube that is you.
Oh.
Yeah. I know that we're getting the comments
from Google, which is why they want people to go through YouTube instead of going through Hangouts, but we prefer Hangouts, so.
Yeah. I know that we're definitely getting the comments because, like, I'm, like, on the app on my phone, I'm logged into the Word Nerds account, and I keep getting the notifications that people are commenting. Let me see if I can see them on my phone right now.
Oh, YouTube.
I can see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see them.
That's so weird. I don't get it.
Point is, we're so happy you're here.
Yes, Slytherin. What?
Ravenclaw. Or bust.
Ravenclaw. Caca!
That's the new one. Literally like attack you with our knowledge.
Sounds like a chicken.
Have you ever heard a chicken, Aaron? That is not what they sound like.
A dying chicken.
You're like a new version of Arrested Development. You're one of the family who has no idea what a chicken looks like or sounds like.
I was just going there. I'm rewatching the series now, and like that was my first instinct was going chop cheap. I'm like, that's gonna be a lost reference. No one's gonna understand me, so I'm not gonna do it.
Helen, I got you.
And then Joe comes in, and he's like, cock. And everybody does a different representation of a chicken. It's so funny.
We get what you're saying.
Well, the point is that Aaron has no idea what a chicken sounds like.
I don't hang out with farm animals. What can I say? You do whatever you want to do in your spare
That's
time.
what eagles sound like.
Oh, okay.
You know?
No. Also not what you sound like.
America. You would know.
America. I maybe know what a moose sounds like. Or
yeah, like this. Like a fox.
Good. I'm gonna ask you to do your moose impression every time now.
Just like Google the sound of a foghorn. This is pretty much a moose like, what do you want? And then and then you get like the steam of their nose. And you're like,
now, what about a beaver? Can you do a beaver?
And they probably make a lot of like creepy noises.
Definitely.
Am I right?
This is good. Can we do more animal impressions?
More references. This is what maple syrup sounds like.
Yes. And this has been Erica with Noises from Canada. Join us next time. I don't know.
I'm going on tour. Everybody buy tickets. And see me slowly lose my mind. No, if I were to go on tour, I'd just talk about Hamilton. Like, have you guys heard it?
Ooh, this is a good question. What's your favorite class?
Yes. Oh.
Ooh.
Potions.
Yeah, I think I would really like potions.
I always love the idea of potions.
In theory,
Defense
I
against
would
the
like
dark
potions, but I don't like cooking, and I'm gonna say that's close because you got to follow a recipe.
Yeah. I've watched Half-Blood Prince the movie. I probably watched the most, and every time I'm like, Hermione, that's me. I get it. The frustration is there. I'm upset with you. Harry's cheating. Transfiguration. I want to turn stuff into other stuff. Let me do it.
That's true.
Especially if it means that I can turn into a cat. Or any animal. A tiny goat. A dog.
You would be a goat. That would be.
Yeah, think of the possibility.
That'd also your Patronus.
It'd be like a goat, like going crazy.
Oh no, yeah, a goat is Eric's Patronus. Like that's yeah,
you know
definitely.
when they like the tiny goats and they get excited and they jump off of other goats? That'd be
Yeah.
you
You posted that video on Facebook. I saw that video, and I'm like, I want to be as happy as that goat is right now. Like, he's pissing everyone else off around him. He's literally jumping off of their bodies, but.
Okay, how do we get from Harry Potter classes to goats?
I'm talking about
Patronus.
Did everyone say their favorite class? Did we get one from Kelly? What's your favorite class?
Charms, I think, looks the most.
I was gonna say charms myself.
Charms would be cool.
Or I am totally having a brain blank. What is the class that Hagrid takes over?
Magical creatures.
Oh yeah,
That would be it for me, I think.
Definitely thought you said caribou. And I was like, I don't know if
Like,
that's
Caribou.
I taught the caribou class.
I don't remember that. It's been a while.
I think Defense Against the Dark Arts would be cool if it was actually taught by someone who's competent. Also, astronomy, but mainly because I would be just laughing through the whole thing.
You mean divination?
I would just
Are you
be,
talking
yeah,
about
sorry.
Divination.
Yeah. I was like, the astronomy class would be cool because you get to go up on like the tower.
No,
Yeah.
you think it's cool, but it's so much math. Let me
Divination?
do it.
Me and Emma. She would
Yeah,
wake
we
me
did
up
that
when I
together.
fell asleep.
We took that together.
Divination would be cool because I would just be probably mocking her under my breath the whole time. So it would be good.
I feel like I'd be good at divination.
I'd like to drink runes.
Yeah. Do we get to drink?
Get into that.
Do we get to
As
drink?
long as I don't have to do the tea leaves, because disgusting math water.
I was gonna say tea. No. Do we get to drink lots?
No.
I'm down.
Gross. I'll just give you all my tea, but Aaron, drink this gross bath water. I need to read its leaves.
I'm down. We could partner.
The ring leaves behind in this cup. The filth at the bottom.
I'm cool with drinking all your tea. Even though if you insult tea, we might have to slap fight. But then I will drink all of your tea.
It's disgusting.
Erica, I have warned you about insulting my tea.
Getting real so fast.
Looks like dirty bath water. You kind of get it the same way. You get hot water, you put something dirty in it, you wait for the water to change to something brown, and then you're like, it's done.
You're clearly not British. No.
I don't know. I feel like iced tea, like sweet iced tea, is a very American thing, though. And you don't even like sweet tea?
Nope.
Really?
I like it more than regular
Told you.
tea. Like, I might drink it. You give me regular tea, I'm like, no.
See, I told you, there's something wrong with this woman.
I'm a Ravenclaw, I'm perfectly fine. I'm in the tower answering riddles. I'm ready where I belong.
I'm going to make it so that all your riddles are about tea.
I'll be like, oh, dirty bath water? Is that right? I'm like, yes,
Wrong,
it
that's
is.
not
Yeah,
it.
do it.
You're not allowed in.
The riddles remind me that like one of my favorite scenes in the whole series is like the Sphinx riddle in in Goblet of Fire. I love that part.
Oh, so
I'm so sad
the story. So Jared is not the best story ever. There's lots of really good stories. This is the best story ever. Jared, my husband, was reading the books for the first time ever shortly after we got married, and he got to the fourth one. And he was maybe like halfway through, 3/4 of the way through. And he's like, I don't know who to trust. Anyone could be the bad guy, except Mad-Eye Moody. I trust him.
I do trust that guy.
Bad judge of character.
He's got a shifty eye, but I'm sure it's his prosthetic.
He drinks a lot and he's kind of shifty, but I trust him.
You know, it's
so hard to keep a straight face and not spoil it, right?
That's amazing.
I don't know if I'd be able. I would just laugh immediately. I gave it away with my laughter.
But I remember like implicitly trusting Mad-Eye too.
Yeah.
Because you want to trust him.
I remember these books just always shocked me. Like I remember being so angry when I like read what Sirius Black like had done in the third book. I was so angry. I like wanted to throw the book because I was so mad at him. And then like you find out he didn't actually do it, and I was like, what?
What?
I think with the Mad-Eye Moody thing, J.K. Rowling played on that trope that's kind of like the lovable ruffian type of thing with Mad-Eye. So you automatically trusted him because you're like, oh, he's rough on the surface, but he's really good deep down.
Like Hagrid.
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And I've always loved the Half-Blood Prince because it like swaps it all on you. Like we've got like pretty much every book in that series, the person who you think is good turns out to be bad, and the person you think is bad turns out to be good. Like, you know, like in the first book it's not actually Snape, and in the second book it's not actually Draco, and then you get to the sixth book and it is Snape and Draco. And so you don't believe, like I just think I remember reading that book and being like everyone else, I was like, Harry, shut up, stop trying to say it's Draco, it's never Draco, and then it was. And you're like,
You got me. I was starting to believe.
Yeah, she did such a good job with that, because, like,
So
you've been through it so many times that you're like, it's not him, it's never him, and then it is him.
Just when you start to trust him.
She did the old switcheroo.
Dang it, Joe.
You got us again.
So good.
So we should wrap this up.
We should.
We've been on for a while.
Okay,
I didn't
I'm
expect.
going to wrap it up like I do, always. So eloquent.
First, we're not here next week, right?
Yeah, no Sunday special next week.
Because
Super Bowl.
Or bowl. Either or. Usually you have the soup in the bowl. Up to you.
That's the kind of Super Bowl I like.
The week after that, though, is a write-in. Valentine's Day write-in. So
get ready to sit
that's
down
gonna be a thing.
Romantic up in here.
Yeah. Get ready. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed our conversation about Harry Potter is what we mostly talked about. Make sure to tune in all throughout the week for our videos. Like we said, next Sunday we are not going to be here because football. I don't think this is copyright. I can't sing it. We will be back the following Sunday with a write-in. So crack your knuckles and your fingers, whatever you want to crack, and get ready to write. We love you guys. Have an awesome week. Go reread Harry Potter because the feels right in the childhood. Ugh. All right. Good night. Bye. Bye.